Hi, I'm Irma Lancaster.
And I'm Dr. Adam Malloy, and welcome to Parent University Year 2.
We look forward to bringing you so many more interviews and activities about all types of information that you need to help with your child's education. We might even look forward to some in-person events if our health and safety protocols allow.
But on today's show, we have some very important information like Connect with Lee, Google Classroom, and health and safety protocol.
All that and more on today's Parent University.
Welcome. We are joined today by Chief Academic Officer Dr. Jeff Spiro. Dr. Spiro, thank you so much for being on Parent University.
Thank you, Dr. Malloy. I'm thrilled to be here today.
Now, Dr. Spiro, last year you were actually one of our most popular and favorite guests per the surveys, so I just want you to know that our parents and our families at home, they really appreciate being connected with you.
Well, I hope I can live up to that standard, so thank you very much.
So, Dr. Spiro, we are again in a health kind of protocol situation. Our status as it relates to learning options, where are we today?
So that's a very hot topic, Dr. Malloy. So I know a lot of our parents would love to see us bring back Lee Home Connect, which was that hybrid learning model that we had last year. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to do that. And what's preventing us from doing that is from the Florida Department of Education. Last year, we had that emergency order from the FLDOE that allowed us to create that innovative learning model. And that was the Lee Home Connect model. We do no longer have that emergency order in place. Therefore, we're no longer able to offer that innovative learning model because of seat time, because of credits as well. So what we have for families, the options we have for them certainly are face-to-face, which is what we're doing now. We did have Lee Virtual School in the beginning of the year, and we had extended that all the way through past the first week of school to allow families to enroll into that program, but that's now closed until the semester. We have home education that is open for our families, and home education is they can enroll at any time for that. And then we have what's called home education with Florida Virtual School Flex. And what that does, it allows a family to continue with the home education model, but then in addition, their child can take a course or two or three via FLVS, Florida Virtual School, in a subject maybe that the parent is not strong in, a world language, an advanced science class, an advanced math class. And those are done with certified teachers as well. So those are really the models that we have right now.
So just to recap for our families, we have traditional, our traditional face-to-face. We have the home teaching, right? And then we have the home teaching with a flex, with the virtual flex.
Right, through FLVS, yes sir.
Great. Now in terms of what we're doing as a district to support, like let's say there's a quarantine, or let's say there's, kids are at home and we know that a lot of our kids are, being contact traced and that sort of thing. How are we supporting their learning at home?
Right, and so one of the key pieces we learned over the last year and a half is the importance of keeping students engaged in the learning process through whatever modality we possibly can put in place. And so what we have available to all students is access to their curriculum through the Google Classroom. So every teacher in Lee County has a Google Classroom, and on that classroom, teachers will put videos of themselves teaching. They'll have a playlist that they'll put on there where students can access their materials. They will put what was taught in the class that day. They will put homework assignments. They will put supplemental material for students. So if a student's home, the very first thing they should do is go on to their teacher's Google Classroom and start doing the assignments. Now, they also can reach out to their teacher. How do they do that? Well, every teacher has their email address right there on the Google Classroom. So they can reach out to their teacher, let their teacher know, hey, I'm not going to be in school for X number of days. I'm accessing the work via Google Classroom. If there's anything additional you need from me, please make sure you reach out. So it's kind of a two-way communication back and forth.
Yeah, I remember I was a teacher, actually worked for you at North Fort Myers High School, and I remember Google Classroom. We just put everything that we did in class on there, and just to foreshadow, we do have Dr. Quisenberry that's going to run through some of the Google Class and how to connect with that as a parent. So I do really appreciate that. Now, in terms of Connect with Lee, I know that that's something that's really, really important. Just a kind of a general concept of Connect with Lee.
So let me back up with Google Classroom. And so the importance of our teachers to making sure that that is updated on a regular basis for our families. And so, I want to thank our teachers for going the extra mile and doing that, because we know we're having a lot of kids at home And so it's crucial that we keep our students up to date with their curriculum. So I just wanted to give a shout out to our teachers for doing that. Connect with Lee. We started that at the end of last year. We were very excited about this opportunity for our families because last year, Connect with Lee was an after-hours live tutoring opportunity for students where they would Zoom link in with a teacher to get one-on-one help by grade level, by content. We've now expanded that this year to have Connect with Lee not only after hours, but also during the day. So now if a student is struggling with a problem or a concept, or they don't even know where to begin, they can link with a certified teacher live, help them get started, and that way they're not waiting until the after hours. So students really have an opportunity from 8 in the morning to almost 8 o'clock at night to access this content.
To have that connection, no, and I really want to give a shout out, Dr. Spiro, to you and your team. I know you guys have been on site at all of our schools and you've been trying to support as much as you can. It's not just the district and the virtual and the home connect and the Google Classroom, but you're actually been boots on the ground, that you've been there at our schools supporting our teachers, which I know is a very trying time right now.
It is, and I do want to, and thank you for recognizing that for our district team. You know, our district team is balancing a lot. We are trying to push in everywhere we can with school support. At the same time, it's our district team that is doing the Connect with Lee during the day and then running that in the evening as well. So thank you very much, and I'll pass those messages on to the team.
You know, and I'm excited because I signed up to do some Connect with Lee sessions next week, so I'm very excited to connect with maybe some social studies, some high school kids that need a little support, U.S. history, that sort of thing.
At the end of the day, we're all teachers.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Spiro, and I want to turn it over. We have Dr. Quisenberry that's going to run through and show our parents and our families how to connect on Google Classroom. So thank you so much, Dr. Spiro.
Thank you, Dr. Malone.
Thank you, Dr. Malloy. I'm excited to be able to give a brief presentation on how to access your child's Google Classroom. When you're accessing your child's Google Classroom, you can use any device or you can use your student's Chromebook. In our secondary classrooms, which is 6th grade to 12th grade, those students bring their Chromebooks home every evening. In elementary school, kindergarten to 5th, if your child is going to be home for a short amount of time, you are able to pick up a Chromebook to take home for your child to use at your child's school. So in order to get into the Google Classroom, you'll first go to your child's Launchpad. If you're on your child's Google Classroom, it automatically goes into their Launchpad. If you are on a different device, you will need to go to launchpad.leeschools.net. So first we're going to go into a Launchpad. When you get inside of your child's Launchpad, you're going to click on Google Apps. From there, you'll click on Google Classroom. And then it's going to take you to all of your child's Google Classrooms. As you can see, I have quite a few. In your child's Google Classroom, they might only have one or they might have multiple classrooms. So I'm going to click on my first class, which is a 6th grade civics. Once you go into the classroom, you will see stream, classwork, people at the top. I'm going to stay in my stream, and if I scroll down, this is primarily used for teachers to make announcements or different communications. You'll also see over here on the left-hand side that there are upcoming dates. This is where you'll be able to see if your child has upcoming assignments or other announcements. You can click on View All, and it will show all of the ones that the teachers have put in so far. I'm going to scroll back up and I'm going to click on classwork. This will look a little different in all of your child's Google Classrooms. All of our teachers set this up uniquely for what works best for their students and their class. So in this classroom at the top, you'll see the teacher has their contact information, and then you'll also see interactive agendas and assignments. On the left-hand side, you will also see where you can click quickly into those different spots. I'm going to click on interactive agendas. In the classrooms, you will see interactive agendas, which are created for the purpose of our students that might be home for a short amount of time. They are able to go in and they're able to see a playlist that they can work through while they're at home. I'm going to click on the playlist. Inside of the interactive agenda, you will see a playlist. You'll see different activities or videos for your child to complete. And these are going to be different depending on the class as well as the teacher. So I'm going to click back to the classwork page. And you can, when I scroll down, you can see that there's an assignment. That means that your child has an assignment that is due. You see it says assigned. So I'm going to click on View Assignment. And over here, it's going to prompt me to turn it in. So whatever might have been due through that classroom agenda or anything else that that teacher might have assigned, the student is able to add it over here and then turn it in directly to their teacher. And you'll be able to tell that they turned it in because it will change to complete. So now I'm going to go back to the classroom. I just clicked right here. And if I go over to people, that's going to show me the teachers and all of, and it's just going to show my own student in the class. But if a parent can be added to their child's Google Classroom if they choose. When they're added to the child's Google Classroom, then they will receive weekly updates for what is due and what has been assigned in that classroom. The way that a parent is added to the Google Classroom is by emailing the teacher, giving the teacher their email address, and then they're able to add them. So this is a quick way to find your teacher's email addresses. I would just click here, and it's going to email the teacher, and I would just tell them I would please like to be added to my child's Google Classroom. I'm going to go back to the stream because I want to talk about one of the announcements that is in all of our Google Classrooms, and that's Connect with Lee. So I'm going to turn it over to Candace Alivedo, who's going to talk to you more about that amazing program.
Thank you so much, Dr. Quisenberry, for that great presentation on Google Classroom. Now we are continuing with members of our amazing academic services team. Now we have Candace Alivedo, who's going to talk about Connect with Lee. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me today.
Now, Dr. Spiro touched a little bit about Connect with Lee, but tell us a little bit more. What is it all about?
So Connect with Lee, we launched it last March to really help our families in the evening hours with their students who needed additional support on their homework or classwork assignments. So I'm not sure about you, but it's been a long time since I've been in the classroom, and as a parent, sometimes my kiddos coming home with work and I'm like, I'm not really sure exactly how to help you on that. So Connect with Lee allows our students to go to launchpad.leeschools.net, and there's an icon called Connect with Lee, and they're connected one-on-one with one of our certified teachers in the content area that they need. So it's available in our core subjects. The student logs in, they show their work, and the person on the other side of the screen, they're able to jump in, answer those questions, walk them through the assignment, and really provide that student the one-on-one support they need.
Who are the people on the other side of the screen? Or is it just teachers? Who's helping with this?
It is our amazing educators who are serving our students each and every day inside of our classrooms. So they sign up to work on these evening shifts, and they provide that same instruction to the students. So it's a certified core area teacher providing the instruction to the students.
And is this for all grades, all subjects? Any student can call it any time, well, during the hours that it's offered, right?
Yeah, during any time. So it's available K-12. The subject areas vary just a little bit. So if you're an elementary kid and you click on first grade, the person on the other side of it is going to be able to help you with all of your subject areas. But once you reach middle and high school, you're going to jump into content specific. So it may say algebra, it may say civics, but it's specific to your area. And what's really great about it is it's after school, so it runs from 3:30 to 7:30 for our elementary and high school students. And then it's 4:30 to 7:30 for our middle school students. And we've been running those evening hours since last spring. And since we found so much success with it, we decided to not only keep it for this year, but we're also launching daytime hours starting Tuesday, September 7th. And on the website, which again your students can get to at least launchpad.leeschools.net, there's specific hours for our elementary, our middle, and our high schoolers, but again, it's by their content area that they need.
And the daytime hours are really for those students that end up maybe quarantined for whatever reason, and maybe they're at home and they need to access support. Is that correct, or really for anyone?
Absolutely. It's really for anyone who might be home for an extended period of time. So as you heard Dr. Quisenberry say, students can get their work inside of their Google Classroom. But sometimes as those students are working through those assignments, they need additional support. So they can go back to the Connect with Lee website and log in and have a teacher right there during school hours that really can help walk them through that assignment. It's going to be really important those kids are utilizing their Google Classrooms, though. That way the person on the other side of that screen can see exactly what the student needs help with.
That's fantastic. Now, you mentioned it was very successful last year. Do you remember about how many students were engaging?
Oh my goodness, by the end, so we only had it for about that quarter, we helped more than 5,000 students and families just from that fourth quarter where we launched it. So we were very excited with it, and we're hoping we'll get families joining us again.
Well, we thank you and we thank your entire academic services team for supporting our schools and our students in making sure that they continue to be academically successful despite all the challenges we're facing. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you again for having me.
Now, when we come back, we'll go over our latest COVID-19 health and safety protocols, and we'll also have a message from our superintendent.
Welcome, parents and families, to the first learning session of Parent University for the 21-22 school year. We're honored to have your participation and hope that you find tonight's information both relevant and useful. I'm impressed with the engagement potential of Parent University and believe that this outreach strategy is a unique opportunity for us to connect families and the school district. Knowing how important parent engagement is to student success, I would like to encourage you to be actively involved in Parent University via in-person, virtual sessions, and completing surveys so that we can know what you need to learn more about. Tonight's learning session is timely for those parents curious about Connect with Lee, Google Classroom, and our most up-to-date health and safety protocols. I thank you for your patience as our school district continues to make the necessary adjustments to support our community and health partners. I know our team is excited about the possibility of having in-person learning sessions this year. Thank you again for being a contributing member of our school district community. The better we learn and teach together, the further we go.
Thank you, Dr. Savage. Now we're going to go to Lauren Stillwell for health and safety protocols.
Thank you, Adam, and thanks everyone for attending Parent University. The latest data we have from the Florida Department of Health for the week ending August 26 shows a 25% positivity rate in our county. Our healthcare partners are feeling it, our hospitals are feeling it, and we are feeling it. One of the main things we can all do to help stop the spread of COVID is to please keep students home if they are sick and see a healthcare provider for testing and care. This is the #1 way to prevent the spread of not just COVID, but other illnesses as well. I want to walk through the process we use when we receive information about a positive case. Here are the steps that we take. The school or district COVID command center is notified, mainly through what we call a CIR, COVID Information Report. A link to file that CIR can be found at 3 different places on the district's website, leeschools.net, as shown by the arrows on the screen. Our health and safety protocols are there as well. Once we have that CIR report, schools pull seating charts and identify close contacts, sending the information to the district's COVID command center. Nurses there check the information and send to the Florida Department of Health in Lee County. We are incredibly lucky to have a collaborative relationship with our partners at the DOH. Once the DOH has the positive case information and close contact list, they investigate and send quarantine and isolation information to us. And we send that information back to the schools, who then notify families with return dates. The process sounds incredibly easy, but we are getting hundreds of reports filed every day, and it is incredibly difficult to keep up. We are hiring additional staff to help us process these reports in order to notify families in a more timely manner. Under the emergency rule released by the State Surgeon General on August 6th and updated, these are the requirements that we follow for exposures, positive cases, and symptomatic students. We'll start with #1, which is an exposure. An exposure means that someone is within 6 feet of a positive case for 15 minutes or more in a 24-hour period. This time frame is not all at once, it is cumulative. So 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, all of that put together counts. If a student is non-vaccinated, exposed, and asymptomatic, that student may return to school with a negative diagnostic test taken 5 days or later from the day they are exposed. This is really important because what we're seeing is many COVID information reports where the student is tested on the same day or the day after they were exposed. Per the order, the test must be taken 5 days or more after the exposure. Another way a non-vaccinated asymptomatic student can return is after 7 calendar days have passed since the exposure, meaning they can return on day 8. If a non-vaccinated student is symptomatic, they must follow the protocols in Section 2 as they are considered presumptive cases. So now let's move to Section 2, which is symptomatic or COVID positive students. Under the emergency rule, symptomatic and COVID-19 positive students are treated the same way. They may return after one of three things happens. The student receives a negative diagnostic test and is asymptomatic. 10 calendar days have passed since the onset of symptoms. The student has had no fever for 24 hours, and the student's other symptoms are improving. All this must be without medication. The student receives a note from an MD, DO, or APRN to return, and the student's symptoms are improving without medication. The type of medical professional who writes the note is dictated by the State Surgeon General's rule. Moving to Category 3, if a student has had a prior COVID-19 infection within the previous 90 days and is not showing any symptoms, no action is required. That student may remain in school. However, if the student is symptomatic, then the steps in Section 2, which we just covered, must be followed. Finally, in the green box at the bottom of your screen, if a student is asymptomatic and fully vaccinated, which means that it's been 2 weeks since their final dose of the vaccine, they do not need to quarantine if they are exposed to a positive case. However, if they are symptomatic, then they need to follow the guidance in Step 2. We know that this is a lot of information, and the flowchart has been sent out to families, and if you would like a copy, you can download it right from our website, leeschools.net. I do want to touch on the section with the orange arrow for just a minute, which talks about using diagnostic testing to return to school. Under the State Surgeon General's emergency order, home tests are allowed. However, a home test must have emergency use authorization from or full approval by the Food and Drug Administration. The test must be used correctly as defined by the FDA, and that means if someone is symptomatic, they can only use a test that's designated for symptomatic cases. Finally, the results of a home test must be sent to a laboratory, done through a mobile application, or monitored by a medical provider. If a student has a test result that shows their name and a negative status, they may send that documentation to school in order to return. When we have positive cases in a school, we are now reporting them on our website. This table shows confirmed positive COVID-19 cases associated with our school campuses. The first section is the daily number of cases broken down by students and employees, and the second section is cumulative information from the first day of school. This information does not mean that the student or employee contracted COVID-19 at the school. And please note the data may lag as providers and laboratories have a period of time to report positive cases to the FDOH Lee, and we are also behind in processing our CIR reports. We will update this page daily on school days based on confirmation of a positive case by the Florida Department of Health in Lee County. And speaking of, we continue to work with our partners at the DOH, Lee Health, and Golisano Children's Hospital to provide COVID-19 testing and vaccine to students and employees. We are hosting a mobile vaccine clinic at our schools. In fact, we have 4 upcoming opportunities. And we started COVID-19 testing in the schools for symptomatic students and employees. These are completely optional, and in every case, a parent or guardian must be present for a student to receive a test and/or the vaccine. And as we've mentioned, we are operating a district COVID-19 command center. This is for parents and employees who have questions about our protocols. The center is open on school days, Monday through Friday, from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And the phone number is on your screen, 239-356-2800. That's 239-356-2800. Please know that we care deeply for your students and our employees. We understand that many of our families are scared for their children in the midst of this tumultuous time. We hope that this information and the additional measures help ease some of those concerns. We will not stop looking for ways to better protect our students and our employees, as well as ways to deliver the best educational experience for all of our students during this difficult time. Thank you so much. Irma?
Thanks, Lauren. Now, speaking of COVID safety protocols, masks are mandatory for the time being. So here's a reminder on the proper use from our friendly mascots.
This year, students are required to wear a face mask at school. Students who do not have a face covering will be provided one by the district. You can put on a mask by placing the loops around both ears and pulling the mask above your nose and below your chin. Masks help prevent the spread of germs, protecting all of us and keeping everyone safe. Students will be provided with breaks for removing their face covering, such as taking their mask off while they are eating lunch. and when they are doing outdoor or strenuous physical activities during PE and recess. Face bandanas are not allowed, and face shields are permitted, but must be worn with a face mask underneath. Neck gaiters are permitted, but must be double layered for proper protection. The School District of Lee County thanks all of you for your continued cooperation in keeping our students, staff, and community safe.
Thank you so much for joining us for today's program. We really hope you enjoyed the topics that we discussed and will find them useful. But throughout the year, we'll be doing some more of the same and a little bit of surprises. One of the things we're bringing back is some sweet prizes.
Now, I know that this year's been a little rocky of a road, but we do have some great ice cream giveaways. We have an ice cream maker, ice cream ball, and ice cream cups, and we're really excited to give it to you.
Now, there's going to be a lot more prizes throughout the year, but remember, in order to qualify, you must take the survey that you receive right after this program every single time, and that way you can qualify for the prize the next month. So make sure that you stay tuned for everything we're doing throughout the year, what the schedule will be, and hopefully we'll bring that in-person session soon.
We are so excited to have you with us tonight, and we're very, very excited to get your survey results back.
We hope to see you throughout the year on year 2 for Parent University.